Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to the Microsoft 365 Virtual Marathon. My name is Jon Levesque. I am a senior platform evangelist for the Power Platform, and I am one of your keynote speakers. This keynote is probably going to be a little bit different. Some of the other ones are probably going to have roadmap and announcements and a lot of exciting news. Instead, I'm going to go a little bit of a different route, and I'm going to do a bit of a celebration. I'm going to talk about how the Power Platform changes lives. I'm going to talk about how it's changed some of your lives, and I'm going to talk about how it's changed my life. And also, you're going to notice that the format is a little bit different. I am bringing you a talk that I did in Scotland earlier this year at the Scottish Summit. A lot of people got to see it there, but I just thought that having an opportunity to go to a wider virtual audience was a great opportunity to get this material out there even further, since we can't be in person and share it together. And also, as a bonus, I thought it would be fun to kind of give you that format of me in a room where you feel like you're actually at an event rather than me just here at my desk area talking to you like this. And so you're going to hear a little bit about me. That's how I'm going to open up the talk. And then we're going to talk about some community members and their stories, and some businesses and their successes. And then I'm going to share with you some tips on how you can do community really well, how you can grow one, how you can be part of one, how you can even start one. Okay? Well, that's it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the talk. I'm very excited for you all to be here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
I don't think that I will ever get a better entrance than that. Wow, let's give it up for those guys. Come on. So I'm really glad that this room doesn't have an elevated stage. I was going to warn the front row. I was like, they told me not to wear pants. They said that's the proper way. So I was like, all right, we just got to make sure everyone's not too close. All right, so hi, everybody. This is my first time in Scotland. I am so excited to be here and see all of you. My name is Jon Levesque. I am a senior PM on the Flow team. The title of my talk today is, This is More Than Just Technology. In fact, this is life change. And today, I'm going to spend some time with you, and we're going to cover 3 different parts of my talk. I'm going to teach you how to build a community revolution. And to get there, we're going to start with some of my story, then I'm going to share some of your stories, and then at the end we'll wrap up with some practical information on how you can go and start your own community revolution. Sound good? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So let's start with a little bit about me. I'm going to preface this, and when I say this, the room is going to go quiet and be like, what? I am about to share 24 slides about me. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but I promise if you just stick with me, we're going to get somewhere with it, okay? So, let's go ahead and jump in. Who am I? I'm Jon Levesque. I'm a senior PM on the Microsoft Flow team. I've recently been upgraded from Power Automate Evangelist to Power Platform Evangelist, which basically means they're like, hey, congratulations, you get to do a whole bunch more work. Awesome. A couple things about me. I am a photographer and videographer. If you know me at all, I'm sure you've probably heard me pimp my YouTube channel out 100 times. I'm also a certified life coach. I am a huge nature fanatic. Trees and mountains are my best friend. It's how I keep my sanity and get away from Twitter for a little while. I'm a beer and wing enthusiast. Chicken wings are my life. And this is actually the dream part of my job. It's funny. My dad was a laborer, and my granddad was a laborer. And for a long time, I thought that I was going to be a laborer. But from a young age, I denied it. I said, no way, not me. No, one day, watch, they're going to pay me just to talk. And now here I am. And it's working out okay. So, if you follow me anywhere, you see, this is my life. I travel around, I have the coolest job. I get to do things like this all the time. And then when I'm not on the road doing amazing talks, I go spend my time out in the woods. And I love to take pictures with my arms like this, as you can tell. But this was not always me. And so now here's where we're going to start to get into the journey, okay? So 2006, that's me. Yeah. I'm 22 years old right there, but I looked 45, and there was definitely something a little different. And my job, I was a cashier at Blockbuster Video. 2006, 14 years ago, a cashier at Blockbuster Video. Now let's just go ahead and zoom in on that so we get the full effect. And we'll come back here, okay? So, at this point, I had graduated high school. I never went to college. I decided that I was going to go and work because school wasn't for me. And so 2006, I'm at Blockbuster. 2007, there I am, a little better style. Still looking pretty similar. I'm 23, and this is my first time I get a real big opportunity. I get this job as a field service technician, which means that you see these gentlemen over here, the AV guys? I did what these gentlemen did. I followed around Steve Ballmer, and I set up his talks so that he could do this. So 13 years ago, I'm preparing the rooms for people who are doing this. This though, started my journey into IT. This gave me a new career path. Where I had no skills and no education, suddenly, I had a new possibility. And so, I went with it. I leveraged it. I turned that job into another IT job. Now I'm going to go through these slides rather quick so that 24 slides about me doesn't last 24 minutes. But what I want you to pay attention to here is the language. This is my LinkedIn. The language here is very medical. It's very prescriptive, right? All I'm doing is outlining things I'm doing, not an impact. You can tell there's no passion. I'm just trying to make bullet points, right? Why? Because IT really wasn't for me, but it was a better opportunity than working at Blockbuster. So I'm going to go that route. So 2010, I become a project manager. I oversee IT operations, network design, blah, blah, blah. I start getting reviews from people I'm working with, and they're fine. They say very nice things about me. Time goes on. 2012, I work at HTC. Who here had an HTC phone at some point? Yeah, those guys. I remember their little flip sidekick thing that you could text on. Oh my gosh, I loved that thing. Here, again, IT. But what's not shown here is that this is where I actually got my first opportunity to start hanging out with marketing people. And it was interesting because I was like, wait a second. There's a whole group of people that get to do nothing except talk about stuff and they get paid for it. It was like, that's perfect. It's my dream job. It's what I've always wanted to do. And so I did my IT job, and after that, when all that work was done, I'd go hang with the marketing team. And I would say, what can I do for you? Because I was trying to get those skills. I was trying to get those connections. I wanted to be a marketing person. I knew that was a way better fit for who I was. Time goes on. My boss gives me a great review. Again, now notice, each of these jobs, one review from one coworker says something kind of nice, right? I keep going. I'm a project manager. Now it starts to get interesting. This is, in this job right here, this was my first time at Microsoft. And this was the shittiest job on the planet. But I took it because I knew I wanted to be at Microsoft. And I knew that if I could just get within the hallways, that I would be able to talk to someone, meet someone, and make something happen. And so sure enough, I did. I met a guy, Brian Tomlinson. He gave me my first opportunity at Microsoft in the marketing department, in community. And he said, John, you got something. I believe in you. You don't have the credentials, but you got passion. And that's something you can't buy. And so I want to point out the top line here. That's the top line of this App Studio position. I'll be honest with you, when I wrote this, I was totally full of shit. I was just making stuff up to sound good. But what's funny is, as I read it now, it was kind of prophetic, right? Because this is now what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to position Microsoft as a major player in this low-code, no-code space. And so I have that job, and lucky enough, what happens? Oh, I get another review from an employee, from a coworker, but then they give me a blue badge. They said, John, you did so great as a vendor. We want to hire you full-time. We have a new product called Project Sienna. Who here knows of Project Sienna? Don't spoil it yet. Okay, so if you use Project Sienna, awesome. So I was actually the first community manager for that product. And now for those of you that don't know Project Sienna, it's now known as Power Apps. And so all of you are probably very familiar with that. Project Sienna was the very first incantation of what we now know as Power Apps. And so I worked on that team. I got promoted a couple of times. Then, you know, my team likes me. Good job. You should read this one. This is a funny one. He has a track record of creating and nurturing a large community of users for the products he used to work for. I was like, Pratap, why'd you even send a recommend? Like, all right. Don't get me wrong, I love Pratap, but I always find that humorous. 2016, I decided to leave Microsoft. I was like, I'm going to go to a startup, and if you notice, eHang is a drone startup out of China. If you know anything about me, I'm a huge drone fan. This seemed like a cool thing to do, go be director of marketing for a drone company. Well, it wasn't. And so I went back to Microsoft. Now, this is where I live today. This is the position you know me in today. And the whole reason I wanted to point all of that out is that literally none of you had any idea who I was until 3 years ago. And even then, in the last 3 years is where all of the momentum around my career has really been built. And why is that? So now, let's check out the difference. My current position, I got 1 review. I got 2. I got a lot. And you can see the difference. These people are speaking of passion about what I'm doing. John has created an engaging online community I've ever been involved in, opened up possibilities for me and my organization. Awesome, right? This is the kind of feedback you want. And so, what changed? Why did I go from working a job that I got fine reviews at, that I wasn't super passionate about, to this place where now I have been able to skyrocket what I'm doing? Why is that? What changed? I'll tell you, it's that together we started a revolution. The community of users that we have, there's nothing like it. Together, we are so powerful, and our togetherness gives us this ability to affect reality. I don't know if you guys see it, but when we all get excited about something, like no one can help but also be excited. Today, Twitter, everyone's going to be so crazy jealous that they're not here, right? Because we can affect reality in that way with this revolution, with this power we have. So, in that revolution, we have a lot of little groups that have popped up that represent so many of us. We have the Power Addicts. I want to show you their video. I don't think I can say it better than they can, so I'm going to let them tell you what this all means to them.
We started this journey with a bunch of people who loved the Power Platform and loved talking about it. We called ourselves the Power Addicts. Individuals with an almost obsessive need and desire to bring positive change, solve problems, and automate processes. But was that the correct definition? We thought, why not just ask the community what Power Addicts meant to them? So we started a challenge on Twitter and asked everyone to share their thoughts. Well, we received a lot of videos from all over the world: Australia, Japan, South Africa, Germany, UK, United States, and so many other countries. There were some funny videos,
Hi there, I'm Jonas Rapp. There's a bug here. I don't know if maybe you can help me find it somewhere here and there. But oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I have to can I just work a bit more on my Power App here? I just want to work a little bit more.
And there were some emotional videos.
Willing to share their ideas, their creations, and even their failures with each other.
Some music videos as well.
Our addict is
Everyone was talking about these 4 common themes. 1. Everyone's free to ask anything.
Everybody in the community puts up with my dumb questions about stuff I don't know anything about.
And for me, it's about having a space where I can be completely myself and just say when I don't know stuff.
2. Passion to learn and teach others.
To me, the Power Addicts is a community of people who are passionate about the Power platform
and empower people to use the platform.
Also passionate about helping others with the Power platform.
3. Everyone is welcome.
Whether you are a new person or an existing community member, you are always welcome.
It's amazing how people just stop to help you.
place that celebrated diversity and inclusion.
4. It's a family.
What does Power Addicts mean to me? It means family. You know, this is more than technology. This is more than friendship. You know, the bonds that I have made and that we have all made, you guys are my family.
These 4 values define what we do. However, there is even a stronger message that connects all of us.
Really what it was about was summed up by that phrase of we rise by uplifting others.
This is why we are proud to call ourselves the Power Addicts. Don't believe me? Well, see it for yourself.
This is Andrew Welch.
My name is Antti Pajunen.
It's Brandon. It's Chris Huntingford.
Daniel Christian.
Nick Hayduk here.
And I'm a Power Addict.
And I am a Power Addict.
And I'm a Power Addict.
And I am a Power Addict.
I'm proud to be a Power Addict.
My name is Vivek, and I'm a Power Addict.
My name is Lindsay, and I'm a Power Addict.
I am Geeta, and I am a Power Addict.
I'm Rick, and I am a Power Addict.
I'm Louisa, and I'm a Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power
Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
Power Addict.
We are here, we are there, we are everywhere.
Being a Power Addict is just freaking awesome.
I have gotten to be a part of many communities. I have helped build several of them. I have never ever in my life encountered something like the Power Addicts. This group of people that has become this completely, it's a movement. There's no other way to say it. It's something that's completely opt-in, where if you decide you're a Power Addict, you get to be one. But the ethos that they offer of we rise by uplifting others, you don't see that often, where competitive vendors are helping each other. It's not something that you see in many industries, but it's something special to us, I think. And so I did a little bit of paid research. I went and paid $15 to get a report pulled on #PowerAddicts so that I could see its real impact. I don't have my spotlight, so I can't spotlight these items, but one thing I want to point out, about 500 tweets a week go out with #PowerAddict. And what's funny about that is they give that an economic value, the amount of attention that the Power Addicts hashtag gets and how much that's worth. It's about $1,500 a week in attention, just currently, right? That seems outrageous to me, that you can measure an economic impact of a hashtag. But what's great is there's over 250 people that tweeted those 5. You can see here some of the top contributors. You got Samit up over there. You got Todd Bazinski, Reza Durrani, all names that we know. Sancho. These guys are super passionate about this stuff. There's also the Flow Fam. Flow Fam is a little bit different than Power Addicts. Flow Fam is a incubator group that I have tried to run from the ground up and try and mentor people and help them mentor others. And so we have currently 33 group members. 28 of those have become BizApps MVPs. 3 have been hired by Microsoft, and we got 2 that are almost there. This group of people is another, similar to Power Addicts, where you see these faces, you definitely recognize them. These are huge influencers in our community. These are massive, skilled professionals, right? And what's great about these guys is when you see them get together and solve a problem, I am constantly amazed. As a more of a marketing person than a technical person, to see someone bring CDS skills and somebody bring SharePoint skills and somebody tie that all together when no one else knows how, those 3 minds coming together to solve problems, it's fantastic. And again, it's the same thing, right? We rise by uplifting others. Flow Fam helping each other solve issues. And then we have TDG. Who knows TDG? Yeah. Those Dynamics guys, now known as TDG, they run Hack for Good. Hack for Good is an amazing thing. It partners together businesses, charities, and skilled technology people to leverage Microsoft and solve problems. So last year, they did a big event where they had 75 participants, a bunch of sponsors. They made 15 apps, and they then gave those apps to a charity to then use for their business. And so, real quick, if you guys want to get involved, if you're going to the Business Application Summit, if it still happens, if it doesn't get canceled, you can actually get involved in a hack that they're doing there. So, I want to now switch gears a little bit and talk about some radical shifts. So we've talked about my journey, we've talked about some of the things that have risen up out of this community, and now I want to share a few stories of empowerment before we get into how you can create your revolution. And so the first story, Samit. Who knows Samit? Right. Everybody knows Samit. If you know anything about the Power Platform, you have seen Samit's face, you have heard his story. But today, I want to share a different side of that story with you. So just for reference, if you have not heard Samit's story, I highly recommend you do. You can go to YouTube. You can search his name, Samit Saini. He has a video about his transformation at Heathrow Airport. Samit was a security agent. We call him TSA in America. And he worked at Heathrow. And he transformed his job basically from a security agent to an Office 365 adoption specialist by creating Power Apps. And so that in and of itself is a cool story, right? Lifting yourself up by your bootstraps, getting yourself a better career. And that would be a great story if it ended there. But it's not. And so I've talked to Samit and I asked him if I could share these additional bits of his story because I think it adds value. I think that you guys need to hear this because I think it could be encouraging for even just one of you. So Samit not only did all that, but to do that, he also had to overcome a learning challenge, a dyslexia. So his mind will rearrange numbers and letters. And so I don't know about you guys, but when I build Power Apps, my God, I have a hard time with formulas and things already. I can't imagine my mind rearranging things on me as I'm trying to make that happen. So now when we add that to all that he has overcome, how much further even he's come because of that. It is an amazing thing that shows that anything is possible if you just say it's possible. And if the story ended there, it would be a great story, but it doesn't. The part I think that means the most to Samit about his own story was that after he got to stand on stage with the CEO of Microsoft, that wasn't the key part for him. Sure, that was great, and that's a life-changing experience. No, but when he got home and he walked in the door, his dad, for the first time in his life, told him, "Son, I'm proud of you." And that for Samit, that was the moment. That was the moment where all of it was worth it. Where all that hard work, all that overcoming challenge and adversity, all that strife and trying to create something new for yourself, that's the moment that meant something to him. And so I share that to tell you that you might also have a learning challenge that you're up against. But you can still do it. this platform can enable you as well. And all it takes is a decision, a radical shift to say, what I have now isn't all I can have. So, who knows the name Joe Unwin? Hands, okay, a few. Who knows the name Flo Joe? Way more. So, Flo Joe, I actually met 1 year ago in Amsterdam, and he was an automation specialist. And we had a conversation over some beers where I said, automation specialist? You need to learn about Flo. Power Automate. Long live Flo. You need to learn about Flo. And he said, what's Flo? And so we started talking about it, and you should see this guy. If you have not seen Flo Joe's material, videos, blogs, I highly recommend you go look him up. He does the very best job at giving you an introduction. He takes concepts and breaks them down in such a simple manner with graphics and infographics and things. Phenomenal. But what's cool about Joe's story is he was tired of his career. He'd done automation testing since he left college. And he said, I am ready for something new. And so 1 year is all it took. He started his Flo Joe series. He started doing some research. He started digging into the tools. And he just got hired by a company in Vancouver, Canada, doing Power Platform architecture full-time. And so for him, it's a massive win, a career change, a new opportunity, twice as much money. Fantastic, right? It took a radical shift. He had to decide again, it's not right, it's not enough. Now I want to talk about a couple of businesses. The Visiting Nurses Health Service. This is a service out of New York State, and they offer hospice care. If your parents are sick or a family member is sick, they'll come in your home and help take care of them. So this company came to us with a radical shift. They said, Microsoft, Jon, Power Automate team, we are doing a bad job. And I'll tell you what, it's really hard for a company to admit that. I don't know how many of you guys deal with companies that openly admit such things, but I deal with very few. And so they came to me and they said, we're doing a bad job. We are dropping patients. Patients are not getting care because our process isn't good enough. And so we went ahead and we built them a multi-tiered approval process with all sorts of inputs and outputs. We stored the data in CDS. And I'm happy to announce they finished this project last year in June. And I talked to them a few weeks back. They have not missed a single patient's care. So that means now that when somebody requests it, they get it. Previously, they would drop it where, maybe I asked for my mom to get care on Tuesday and no one would come because something fell through the cracks. Now, not a single patient. And so they're able to do more business, right? Because they looked and they said, we want to improve. They were radical. They said, we're not doing good enough. We need to do better. And now my favorite story of transformation. TransAlta is an energy company out of Canada. They do oil, gas, wind, all of it. TransAlta decided that they wanted to work differently, that they were willing to try and experiment with us, where I came in and I said, all your C-level people, they're not going to tell anyone what to do for 3 months. Well, imagine how that went over. Said instead, they're just going to listen, and they're going to unblock problems. And so we did a program called Bottom-Up Innovation with TransAlta, where we got a bunch of their people together. We showed them the platform. We said, what do you want to make? Now that you see this platform and you see what's possible, if technology was no blocker to you, what is it that you would make? And so they got together and they came up with about 60 ideas. We gave 5 of those ideas owner teams and said, okay, take that on and go. And so they did. And one of the best apps I've ever seen has come out of it. So they made an app in a series of flows, 17 flows, that measure their wind farm. All their historical data, all of their current data, and what happens is they have a machine model that then compares these so that they can say, oh, the conditions today are about 40 degrees and there's 20% barometric pressure and there's 20% humidity. And what'll happen is that app will then tell them, you can run the wind farm for 4 more hours or shut it down immediately. Because one of the problems with wind farms in Canada is ice. The blades get all iced up, it ruins the bearings, you got to take them down and repair them. It costs millions of dollars. So instead of running their power and risking ice, they just shut the wind farm off. So now with their new app, they're able to run about 8 hours longer per day leading up to ice events. So what's that mean in common language? It means that since June of 2018 to October of 2019, the last time I talked to them about this, they had actually produced an additional $28 million in revenue. Now that's not cost savings, it's not efficiency gains, that's them understanding their business better, being able to generate more power because of it, which then makes more money. For them, it's a windfall. Took them total investment, about 2.5 months, 5 or 6 team members, IT support, about $82,000 total investment of all hours and costs, and they made $28 million off of it. Why? Because they took a radical shift. Because they said, okay, we'll push our sea level out of the way. We'll go ahead and listen to the people at the bottom. And because of it, massive windfall. So, now we get to the good part. How do you create your own revolution? How do you make radical shifts happen? And so, I'm actually going to write a book about it. I'm working on it. It should come out like next year sometime. It's called Cultivate, The Art of Building Kick-Ass Communities. And it's funny because people ask me, why do you highlight cult, John? And because the first line of the book is going to say, please don't use this book to build a cult. Because I think that a lot of the methodologies are the same. Building a community is a lot like building a cult. You need fanatics, you need followers, you need a lot of the same things. So let's jump in. The first stage of building a kick-ass community is you gotta land and learn. So in order to tell others, you must know. This is simple, this stage, right? You just gotta do all the things you need to do to understand these items. That thing you're promoting, its value, who makes it, how to use it, the community surrounding it, what customers want, what do I have at my disposal to get messages out? And the goal here really is to become a subject matter expert as fast as possible. And so just take in info, learn, right? Because if I'm going to create a community around something, I gotta really know a lot about it. I gotta know what it is, I gotta know how to talk about it, I gotta know how to share it. And so that's our first goal. So for me, like when I came to Flow, I had no workflow thinking. I didn't know what JSON was. I was like, who's Jason? Like, but I had to figure it out, right? Because if I'm gonna share it, I have to know enough. Not for me to be a pro at it, but I have to know enough to get you to use it, right? To get you excited about it. And so I then go and create little things to get buzz going. And then I'll ask something like, hey Matt, I need help. Will you help me build this thing? And what does it do? It does something for both of us, right? Where now I get something that I need, but Matt then gets promotion from helping to build it, right? And so suddenly now we're sharing and it's becoming the next level. So now we move on to, I must inform and inspire. This is the first stage to actually gathering community together. These are the two ways that you really get people to join a community, either by informing them or inspiring them. So this is where we tell our stories passionately. We do show and tell, like kindergarten. Just show off your favorite things. Look at this thing I made. It's amazing. Don't you want one too? Create places for collaboration and support. Shine a light on people doing the things you want to support. If you'll notice, this is a huge thing I do in my community. When somebody does something awesome, I shout about it. Oh my gosh, look at this amazing thing so-and-so did. Then, this is a huge one. Encourage others to do as you do. You don't need credit for everything. And I'll be honest, that's been a challenge for me. I love credit, right? Like, I get paid extra for like how much credit I have in things. And so, this is something for me that I'm constantly struggling. And so what I've tried to do is now for like my YouTube channel, most of it, I give away the platform. I ask other people to come and present. I show them off. I try and give them an opportunity to have that platform to grow. And then the goal here really is to touch, move, and inspire people so that they participate or share our stories and programs. what we're trying to do here is build a snowball, build momentum, build it slowly but surely. After that, engage and educate. Once we've hooked you, how then do we keep you along? So this is where we connect with passionate people and we empower them. Power Addicts, Flow Fam, TDG. We give those groups reign. We say, go, you're passionate, go, make awesome things. So we identify our core fanatic groups. We ask them what they need. We build the platform and toolings to support those things. We invite the greater community to then share our successes and challenges together, right? We rise by uplifting others. Create spaces and experiences for collaboration and growth. Continuously encourage and reward participation. Now, this is a big one. Document best practices, create open source repositories, foster a culture of sharing where we all build off each other's experiences. And so if you'll notice, if you're paying attention at all, this is where we are in our community. I would say we're in the engage and educate space right now, and we are heading towards this. So the democratization really begins here in this phase, and then we go on to the final phase, empower and influence. And so this one only has one bullet point right now. It's very, very simple. Once we've built our platform, we scale our efforts by sharing it. And so that's where we live today, right? All these movements we've talked about, all these radical shifts, it's all of us sharing this thing that has changed our life. And so all that to try and get ourselves to be evangelists, which really, the definition of evangelism is just those who know telling those who don't. And so I wanted to share my story with you guys to show that my own radical shift happened because I decided that what I had wasn't enough. And the stories I shared, the same thing. Samit and Joe, they decided that what they had wasn't enough. TransAlta, Visiting Nurses Health Service, they weren't doing business right. What they had wasn't enough. And what they've all done is they've all taken part in community in some way or another. They've all built this revolution into their business in one way or another. They've all taken on this evangelist idea in one way or another. And so for you today, I just want you guys to go and think of what's your radical shift. Do you have all that you want? Do you want more? All it takes is a decision for you to say, what I have now isn't enough, and I'm ready for some more. And what I'll tie in the whole Microsoft bit. This platform can help you make that change. All right, and so guys, that's my talk for you today. If you'd like to follow me, I am talking all the time, all over the place. Would love to have you along with me.
All right, and so that's my talk for you. I went a little short because I want to leave you a little bit of extra time before the next session so that you can just sit and pause and reflect. All of the stories you've heard, mine, Samit's, Joe's, the companies, all of them have one thing in common. We all decided that what we had at the moment wasn't enough and that we were capable of having more and that we wanted better. And all of us embraced this idea of a radical shift, that we were willing to give up the way we were doing things to take on something new and meaningful and trailblaze, try something that others hadn't done. And for us, the result has been great. And for you, the result can be great too. And so I want you to go today and take in all of these amazing sessions, all of this show and tell that these amazing speakers and teachers are doing. Soak it up and find that thing that you get fired up about. What part of the platform speaks to you? And with that, go ahead and just dive in. Get passionate, meet people, soak up information, practice. Really get involved in the community, user groups, the online community. There's a ton of resources out there. Twitter is a huge one. There's a lot of people in a lot of places doing exactly the same things that you're checking out and interested in and trying to be a part of. And so join in. Become part of the Power Addicts and the Flow Fam and TDG and the greater community. All right, that's it. I'm going to leave you with that.
It's time for you to go and make your radical shift. It's time for you to go and find that thing that's going to up your skill set to the next level. It's time for you to go and identify that passionate moment that's going to change your entire trajectory. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. I appreciate each and every one of your time. I cannot wait to see what the rest of this day holds, and I look forward to connecting with each of you. Bye, guys.